Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa look like they sparked some of that 2023 magic at practice today. We will talk about it. Plus, we'll have highlights of some of the big plays they made for you. Yep, we'll have more training camp highlights for you today. Also, Minkah, he came out and he killed those narratives real quick about whether he wanted to be in Miami or not. So we will discuss that in depth and a whole lot more, including the Miami Dolphins setting up a visit with the top tight end free agent. Is this an indictment on Waller, or are they just trying to get better? We'll discuss it all right? Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown.
And he will score! Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown! He's going deep. It's not over the touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. You already know what time it is. Yo, listen, I'm laughing because I see Elbden in the chat. He says, hearing that scream at the end by Reason saying, let's go, man. I'm telling you, I go wild during those live reaction streams. I think one of my most classic ones, obviously, is that comeback against the Ravens. I mean, even Tua Tagovailoa's mother, went ahead and reposted my reaction on Instagram. I wild out that, man. It's got like, I clipped up just the reaction alone. It's got a whole bunch of views. You can go check that out under my, static content. So, man, I'm telling you, even saying it's a great day to be a Dolphins fan, that's from a live reaction as well. So, man, but hey, we're like so close to live reactions and so close to regular season football. As you guys know, I will be going away August 2nd. I will be coming back the following Saturday. And yes, I will be live on Sunday for our first preseason game. So I just won't be around next week. But that is not without leaving y'all some content. I will have some content for you, including one of my biggest interviews to date. And that, of course, is going to be, man, you know what? Maybe before I leave, I'll announce it. I don't know, but I'm keeping y'all in suspense. I'm telling you, this is one of the biggest interviews in the community this offseason and one of the biggest interviews on this channel. So y'all are going to love what I got coming for you. And I'm going to be dropping that next Monday. All right. First thing in the morning, we'll be dropping that for y'all so you can have all day to take that in. So it's only about a 25-ish minute show because this person, hey, when you're dealing with the big wigs, you only got limited time. All right. So we'll be coming with that, and I'll have some other stuff. I'm planning some other stuff to drop for you guys. So don't worry. All right. I'll keep y'all guys entertained, even if I won't be able to be here to give you a report on training camp. And then, like I've been telling you guys, I will be down the week of the 18th to the 22nd. I will be at the 19th, 20th practices of August, and then I will be at the joint practice against the Jaguars on the 21st. All right. So I'll be going like I did last year when I went down to camp. I'll go live when I get back to the spot to give you guys a report of what I saw and to go over what the media saw, and I'll tell you exactly if the media is right or not. You know what I mean? So we'll have a lot. It's not Adam Gase, trust me. Okay, it's bigger than that. So, all right. Appreciate all of y'all. Now listen, I would have went live yesterday about Minkah's money. Let's start off with this. I would have went live yesterday about Minkah's money, but I'm going to be transparent with you, Wife asked me Saturday night, hey, I'm taking the girls to this butterfly conservatory in Niagara. Do you want to come? I said, yeah, sure. That sounds like a couple-hour thing, whatever, cool. Well, we ended up going down to Niagara Falls, Clifton Hill, and making a whole day out of it, going in the haunted houses, going in all the most of the attractions, the arcade, etc., etc. And so, yeah, that's what happened yesterday, and I wasn't able to talk about it, but I will talk about it right now. Listen, this was inevitable, okay? Here's the fact of the matter of the situation. I've been talking about Minkah getting guaranteed money since we acquired him on this channel. No one who watches this channel was surprised in the slightest. Now, I know people are making a big fuss about it because they want Zach Sieler to get paid. Yo, listen, I haven't talked a lot about Zach Sieler on X. I've talked about him more on this channel, and you guys already know how I feel about the situation. There's been 3 things we've been consistent about Zach Sieler on this channel all offseason. Number 1, he deserves an extension and a big money payday for his position more than the contracts that have been handed out during the Flores and McDaniel regime, and probably anyone you can name who's gotten paid. Zach Sieler deserves it more than they did, okay? That's number 1. And that's off production, effort, leadership, right? Work ethic, So, on all those things, plus a whole lot more. And then, what's the second thing I say? If we had 53 Zach Sielers with some of those intangibles I just listed, in terms of the effort, the leadership, the production, you know what I mean? If we had 53 guys like Zach Sieler at their respective positions, we'd probably have won a Super Bowl by now. That's another thing I say. All right. And number 3, what I say, if he doesn't get paid and he ends up leaving in free agency, fire everyone who is responsible for that happening. Peace. Sayonara. Okay. So we are pro Zach Sieler on this channel here and have been all off season. Okay. So people want to fuss about Minkah. We all knew this was coming. Do you think a top 10 safety at his position is playing with no guaranteed money? Come on. We've all, even if you just started becoming a hardcore football fan when you came across, Phinside The NFL, and this has made you a more hardcore football fan, even if you've been around for just that long, you knew, just like I knew, that was not going to happen. We all know how the business works. Not happening. So I don't know why people are shocked. I don't know why people are surprised. And listen, when you look at the details of it, what's really bad about it, right? So they basically agreed to a 2-year deal that guarantees about $17.5 million this season, but it gives us cap relief. The contract converts his 2025 salary into a signing bonus while sliding $2 million up from his 2026 deal to 2025. Now, he's also due about $15.6 million next year. But what did this do? This cleared up around $11 million in cap space for the Dolphins, who were just under about $2 million in cap space before that. If you look at where we are according to under the cap, we were at just about 1.064. So now we're at about 12.064 in cap space. So again, this gives you flexibility. And I'm telling you, you want this kind of flexibility, right? And think about it. You use that Sieler extension back to Sieler. See, I think they're going to take care of him. This is why I'm not panicking. This is why Minkah and the money that I have been telling you was coming, no inside source shit, just basically telling you this is what's going to happen. All right? Because you didn't need to talk to anybody inside the building to know that was going to happen. All right? Then he signed Drew Rosenhaus, and that furthered that. Okay, and we talked about it a couple days ago. It's better him signing Drew Rosenhaus than Athletes First because we have a great relationship with Drew Rosenhaus. So he took care of that. It's all good. We're ready to go. All right? So listen. I'm not worried. They're going to take care of Zach Sieler the same way they just took care of Minkah. And what's Zach Sieler going to do? We got a little over $12 million. Zach Sieler would open up another $5.5 million. All of a sudden, we're at about $17.5 million. So all of a sudden, if you're at a good position at the end of October, you can become a player at the trade deadline with that kind of money available. So, I am all about it. Take care of Minkah. He is basically the new leader of our whole secondary. Jordan Brooks got the middle of the field on lock. Minkah got the back half of the field on lock. And Zach Sieler got that front on lock. And we're good, man. Just need to, they're adding some quarterback depth with Jack Jones. And, of course, Mike Hilton. We're getting better. So, we'll be good, man. I think this defense is going to be actually really good. Like, I'm not worried about the defense. You want me to be honest with you? I'm more worried about the health of players on offense. And I say players because it's not just the quarterback. I'm worried about the quarterback, the right tackle. I need that right guard to stay healthy with that Achilles, right? Tyreek, I need him to stay healthy. Waddle, I need him to stay healthy because he's been banged up the last couple of years. So, there's multiple guys. I need Achane in that body to stay healthy. There's multiple guys here I'm worried about, okay? So, not just one. So, listen, the Minkah thing was inevitable. We knew it was coming. It's done. It's over with. Thank God. All right? Thank God. The Brewer's going to be fine. I'm not worried about that. He doesn't have a history. I'm naming guys that have had history the last couple of years, Now, Christian Wilkins. This situation is so weird. Like, first, basically, it was tweeted out that obviously he had an incident with a teammate that led to his release by the Raiders, Josine Anderson. Then a former teammate of him, right? Jonathan Feliciano, he said brother's always been a little freaky. And then now it's going off today about, Pat McAfee started off saying, from speaking to people inside the Raiders locker room, they say that Christian Wilkins playfully went to kiss a teammate on the top of his head. They say that the player took offense to it, and that's what everybody's been dancing around. Now, they did make a good point in that segment. They talked about, okay, it must have been a kind of an important player, right? Like, it wouldn't have been some jabroni, like, who's going to go to HR and be like, hey, they're going to tell that guy to shut up, So, apparently, one source told ESPN that the interaction was playful, but the teammate didn't see it that way. So a complaint was filed to the Raiders Human Resources Department, which investigated the incident. I mean, this thing is just unbelievable what's going on right now with Christian Wilkins over in Las Vegas. This guy's probably wishing, because I'll tell you exactly, I've told you guys the timeline. I'll tell you the timeline again, right? This is why he left. Me and Neil were the first ones to report he wanted over $22 million. No one believed us. Everyone was like, oh, you guys are lying, oh, blah, 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 blah. I remember the pushback we were getting, okay? And we ended up being right. And what happened was when the season had started, that's when the Dolphins came. They were in the more the 18-20 range. That's when they came, From what I understand, it was like October-ish. That's when they came to Wilkins and said, listen, okay. They did the same thing with Robert Hunt, right? They came up around what Robert Hunt was asking in that offseason, but they came around like October-ish, and it was too late. And so Christian Wilkins, from what I understood, Christian Wilkins wanted to take the deal because they were in around $22 million a year, and he wanted to take it. And from what I understood, Athletes First basically told him, no, we can get you more on the open market. Turn this down. No, we got to set the precedent. And then that's basically the direction they went. That's what I've heard since like this all went down. So, I will reiterate, I heard he wanted to take the deal that they offered in when the season had started. And Athletes First basically said, nope. That's what I know of the situation. This is why I don't speak very highly of Athletes First on this channel because of all the stuff that I've heard privately about them and a lot of that stuff I've relayed to you guys. They're just, they just, I mean, hey, on one side of the fence, you can't hate on them. They're getting these players paid and made into, hundreds of millionaires, okay? They're taking care of their player. You can't hate on that. On the flip side, it's frustrating for fans. It's frustrating, especially for the front office, because They are very stubborn. They are very hard to move off their point. Like, you know, I was told, like, with Tua and stuff, Tua basically had to, like, start stepping in at time and say, yo, you need to get this done. Like, see, that's what people don't understand about Tua. People can say what all they want about Tua or whatever, but Tua wanted to get that contract done and was getting frustrated with athletes first and the hemming and hawing and the going and back and forth. He didn't want that dragging out as long as it did. Don't you find it kind of curious that he was working with QB3 and they had it plastered everywhere, and since he signed, all that stuff's gone quiet? You know, I've talked about what I've heard behind the scenes regarding his off-season training regimen now that he signed that deal. And, you know, just saying. So, anyways, so Christian Wilkins, you know, that's just crazy where that's going. I mean, I don't know what else to say about Christian Wilkins right now. Like, I mean, if he's playfully just kissing a guy on the head and they're taking, I mean, serious offense to that, I mean, like, bro. Yeah, and again, Pat McAfee made a really good point. And remember, and I'm not saying this is in Miami. I'm talking about Las Vegas. Pat McAfee was in these locker rooms. What does it tell you? You know what it told him about this? About how the person obviously was not a jabroni, obviously had some kind of status, went to HR. What does this tell you? That he probably wasn't really liked in the locker room. So, I don't know. And we've always known Christian Wilkins, listen, I've always loved Christian Wilkins' game. But what have I always said about him? What have I always said about Christian Wilkins? I said he needs to be more serious. None more of this laughing, ha, ha, ha. No, we need guys who are going to walk up to the line and, you know, Josh Allen looks into Zach Sieler's eyes, into Chop's eyes, and he knows the killers are coming. You know, that's what we need. Not this rah, rah, ha, ha, ha stuff. Joke, joke, joke. No. We need that seriousness, and that's what Calais Campbell brought a little bit of, etc., etc. You get what I've said. That's been my biggest knock on Christian Wilkins, is that playful side. That's been my biggest knock on him, and look at it, it's biting him in the butt. So, but you know what it also seems like? I'll be honest with you. It seems like the Raiders are trying to put out multiple stories to trigger multiple outs. So let's say the NFLPA wins their grievance. Well, we have an HR reported incident. You know, that's what it feels like, right? Like the Raiders are trying to basically double down. That's what it feels like to me, that there's a bit of a smear campaign. I'm just being honest with you. Clay and Malik from the game. And then finally here, I don't know if you guys saw this, Cordarelle Patterson got released today. Now, hey, listen, I get it. The first thing I'm going to hear is reason he's like 34 and a half. Okay, that's cool. But, I mean, he was still productive last year, right? He still had, on kickoffs, he still had, 266 yards on 12 returns, right? Averaging about 22.2 yards. Listen, I don't know if that explosiveness is still there, but I find that interesting that he's out there. Hey, listen, we're trying to throw things at the wall right now. I don't want Tyreek out there returning kicks like they've had in special teams drills. Are we crazy right now? Listen, I would bring Cordarelle in. First thing I would do is I would test his 40. All right? That's the first thing I would do with Cordarelle Patterson. All right, what's your 40 time? I want to know how far you've fallen off from that 4.42. All right? Because remember, I mean, his scouting combine was in like 2013. So if that 4.42 has turned into like 4.6, okay, I get it. Peace out. But that's still a savvy veteran. And I'm just broaching it because we know how he was used in Atlanta and all these different, right? All these different formations he was used in. Schematically, he can be used as a chess piece if you need to give anyone a break. I'm just wondering, hey, what do you got? So, listen, I'm just saying, I would intrigue me. Vet minimum to see what he has at camp? Why not? Why not? Why not? And now I've said this, I still want to continue seeing what AJ Henning has because that guy's just so dynamic. So dynamic. But I don't want Tyreek out there. Why are we risking this? Please, God, no. So, all right. All of that said, let's get into some news from the Miami Dolphins today. And we are going to start off with, before we get into the training camp, we'll go over what Mike McDaniel said. We'll go over all the training camp reports. I got training camp, about 3 minutes of training camp highlights for you, courtesy of the homie Cash. So we'll go over all that. But before we do, Noah Fant. The Miami Dolphins today are hosted free agent Noah Fant on a visit. It's his third visit. He's already met with the Bengals and the Saints. He continues to draw significant interest. Miami recently obviously traded Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh. Where am I at with this? Listen, I don't think he's the same guy from a couple years ago. Right? I don't think he's that same guy that was, putting up 670 plus yards in Denver. But he put up 500 yards last year. Right? I just listen, he's only 27 and a half. If you can get him on the cheap, why wouldn't you entertain that? Now, is he going to blow your socks off as a pass blocker? No. He's not at all, right? But, again, they would have kept Jonnu on this roster had he probably been okay with making his previous salary. If you can get Noah Fant on the cheap, why wouldn't you? I don't think they're going to be offering him any serious money. And this also continues to tell me that they've probably moved on from Rasul Douglas. Now, they might not. They might circle back around depending on what happens with Kader, Kohou, who we'll get into it later here. But with Noah Fant, you got to kick the tires here. Okay? Darren Waller isn't in football shape yet. Now, is he trending towards there? Yeah. But let's say this. What do you like better? Just ask yourself. What do you like better? Waller on the cheap, who's in football shape. Julian Hill and Pharaoh Brown, and you're hoping maybe Tanner Connor or Hayden Rucci break through for a fourth guy. Maybe, but they're probably going to take those three. Or would you rather Noah Fant on the cheap, Darren Waller on the cheap, adding to a room that consists of Julian Hill, and you probably keep Pharaoh Brown? That's dynamic, man. Listen, I would do it. Why wouldn't you? What do you have to lose? And you can start giving some real interesting, very interesting personnel usages. Like, you can give some real interesting 12 personnel looks. And you can also rotate that 12 personnel look, right? You got Julian Hill, and then you got Pharaoh Brown, and then you got Noah Fant and Darren Waller. And then if you put Darren Waller and Noah Fant out there, both out of the slot, little F action. I'm just saying. That would be kind of interesting. Listen, if it's cheap, why wouldn't you? You just cleared up all this space. You've got $12 million in space after you gave Minkah that money. You pay Sieler an extension, you got $17.5 million. I don't think Noah Fant is gonna break the bank, man. I do not think Noah Fant is gonna break the bank. I don't. And remember, he's left the Saints without a deal. I don't think they're gonna offer him a ton. I really don't. And again, this can get you a guy who's a little bit more of a proven commodity right now than Darren Waller, who just is coming off out of retirement, basically. So, again, I think Waller is a little bit better of the athlete, clearly. I think he's going to stretch your field a little bit better. He's more of a threat up the seams, but Fant still runs in the 4.5s, right? He had, I think his vert was like 39.5 inches or something like that. You know, I mean, he's still a good player. So, you know, I'd be down. Sign me up. Now, the first thing people are gonna ask me are, well, how much would you pay him? Well, I'm not giving him what he was just making in Seattle. That's the first thing I can tell you right now, right? He had just signed a 2-year, $21 million contract. Sorry, brother. It's not happening. You know? It's not happening. Now, I would give him $4 to $5 million. I would give him what you were going to give Jonnu. Right? Jonnu was at 4.9 million. I'd give him right around there. Yeah, I'll give him right around there. I'll give him between, 4.5 to 6 million. I'll go up a little bit if you want to play ball, But I ain't guaranteeing anything, very much of it. Let me put it this way. If he wants a 2-year deal, okay, 2 years, 12 million, and I'm probably guaranteeing 6, maybe 5. I'm not guaranteeing you like 8 million of that. I'll guarantee you 6 million of it. This year's salary guaranteed. Let's revisit it next offseason. So that's where I'd be. That 4.5 to 6 million range, I'd be down for. 4.5 to 5 would be perfect because it'd just be slotting Jonnu's contract out for Noah Fant. And then listen, we all know there are basically unattainable incentives built in to the contract of Darren Waller, so he's going to be like $1 million. So I'm just saying, count me in on Noah Fant. All right. Now, prior to that, we had practice, and of course, Mike McDaniel, he met with the media. So let's go over what Mike McDaniel said. We're going to stick to Mike McDaniel. We're going to stick to his media availabilities in written format because, again, I'm not going to put you all through that. But I do have Minkah's media availability we'll go over a little bit later on, as well as a video from CBS that I want to talk to you about. All right, so cornerback Kader Kohou, who sustained a leg injury during Saturday's practice, has some swelling and continues to be evaluated. Coach Mike McDaniel said Monday. Asked if he's concerned if Kohou's injury could carry into the regular season, McDaniel indicated he could not speculate because I don't have the information to lean anyway. Kohou fell to the ground and sat there for a couple of minutes after he got tangled up with Tyreek Hill during quarterback receiver drills. But ultimately, he was able to walk off the field under his own power. Kohou got up limping and fell to the ground after taking a few steps, then got back up. He walked gingerly into the locker room with the staff, a bit hobbled in his grit, but not showing the pronounced limp from minutes earlier. Meanwhile, B.J. Adams is in concussion protocol after leaving Saturday's practice on a stretcher. Adams is, quote, doing well, McDaniel said. One of those random occurrences where you are chasing one receiver and some crossing patterns and there was an unintended collision. Dante Trader Jr., who has an undisclosed injury, might be held out until joint practices begin August 8th in Chicago or the following week in Detroit, McDaniel said. Quote, I want to see him on the field and not have regression. He said Ifeatu Melifonu's return is not far away, and center Aaron Burrow will take part in walkthrough practices this week as he continues to work his way back from a soft tissue injury. McDaniel also addressed the additions of Jack Jones and Mike Hilton, noting they've been considering them for a while. Quote, Mike Hilton comes with some scars from the other side of the ball. Playing against him in years past, he was the one guy in the defensive backfield from a physicality standpoint. You're like, I wish they wouldn't be in nickel. I wish they had a linebacker on that play instead. That's how physical he plays the game from a defensive back position. I was fired up. He was an option. We've been talking about him for a while. As for Jack Jones, McDaniel said, had multiple conversations with Jack, including one at 6 a.m. in the special team coordinator's office about seizing opportunities and choosing to define your name and legacy by your actions. He's eager to really compete. I like that about him. You can't help but feel the standard the locker room holds you to. All those guys know to thrive on this team, their job is to assimilate. Hilton, who played for Cincinnati last season, has been one of the league's better slot corners through several seasons. That's who I was pushing for us when Artie went down. That was the first guy I was pushing for to replace the slot snaps. Now, they're thirsty for the opportunity, McDaniel said, of Hilton and Jones. McDaniel addressed other issues. On safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick revising his contract. He said, I'm pumped because Minkah was steadily learning the defense and taking command of it. He said left tackle Patrick Paul's growth has been monumental. Rookie quarterback Quinn Ewers is doing great. McDaniel said a quarterback is a leader of men, and you can tell there's a personality trait within him that teammates gravitate to. He's really starting to grasp timing stuff. He's benefited from Zach. Yeah, okay, I think it's the other way around. Darren Waller, who's on PUP list after coming out of retirement, has had no setbacks and continues to progress. We are not allowing his great shape to trick us into thinking he's in football shape. So the Dolphins did waive Nate Noel to make room for Hilton. We all knew Noel was not much more than a practice squad body. So there are your updates regarding Mike McDaniel's media availability. Now let's get into practice. We are going to go over Travis. We're going to go over Miami Herald. We're going to go over Sun Sentinel. And then I'm going to play about 3 minutes worth of highlights that are going to have a lot of the explosive plays from Tyreek and Tua today in there. So you're going to want to stick around for that. Then we're going to go get into Minkah's media availability because he deaded the narratives and started a new one with his media availability. And also, I got to go over what the NFL and CBS said about us today. So we'll go a couple days ago. We'll go over all this stuff because they said it from camp. So let's get into what Travis said today. Over 400 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Let's get into this. So Travis, this is how it started out. Ashton Davis sinks down and makes a play at the line of scrimmage on Achane to start practice. Next one, Achane finds a lane with some good surge from the interior 3, hits a jump cut, and hits the second level with a head of steam. Tua jams into Reek with Minkah buzzing underneath and Davis over the top. The window looked non-existent, but Tua finds it. Mo Kamara, good backside pursuit angle as the unblocked man and blows up the Madison run in the backfield. So Mo Kamara finally making some plays at camp. Love to see that. Malik's release shakes Cornell Armstrong right away, but Wilson's throw is wide and incomplete. Looked like an explosive with an on-target throw. Don't like hearing that about Zach Wilson. Grayson Murphy defeats the Borum block and makes the stuff for a tackle for a loss. Madison was the back. Pat Paul and Jonas Savaianaya collapse the backside, and Jalen Wright hits a wicked jump cut to get to the second level. Paul waving him on like a third base coach after he explodes through the gap. Big year coming from Jalen Wright, people. Big year. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. Tua, bread and butter throw to Reek. 20 yards on the inbreaker, and if he can slip the shoestring tackle attempt of the pursuit corner, it's a 40-yard touchdown. Patented Sieler swim gets him in shape for a would-be collision at the line of scrimmage on a right run. Willie Gay is all over the shot to the corner in the end zone in mid-red zone from Zach Wilson. He wanted Madison, but Gay took away the window. Alexander Madison and Ollie Gordon with some nice downhill runs in low red zone in this period. Then Wilson drops back to throw from there, and Ben Stille and Grayson Murphy get immediate wins for the sack. Bradley Chubb dents the edge, and Jordan Brooks scrapes off of him for the run stuff on right. Isaiah Johnson's length really stands out in the red zone. Tua tries the ball to the corner to Reek, but Johnson felt it, got into position, and completely blocked Reek's view back to the ball, incomplete. Tua comes back with a touchdown on a quick hitter to Reek. Ball was behind, but Reek makes a nice catch off the body. Play action frees up Connor outside for an easy throw and catch, and touchdown in a foot race to the pylon with Jordan Colbert. Ewers with a nice throw down the middle to Henning for a touchdown to the end of the red zone period. But man, Travis watched Jack Jones on Monterey Baldwin. He got changed up his footwork pre-snap a couple of times, ultimately got into position to press and just took out the play entirely. He says he really likes watching Jack Jones play. That's awesome stuff. Tua with an 18-yard dime to Waddle. Far hash throw over the curl flat under the safety. Phillips stacks up Julian Hill for a run. Went down, win, and tag off of Achane. Chop was screaming downhill inside for a big hit on Tua. Tua lets it fly up the sideline to Reek, and you couldn't have handed the ball to him better. 46-yard touchdown without knowing how the hit would have affected the throw. And we'll have that highlight for you guys to see when we get to the highlights. Willie Gay jumps in front of another Zach Wilson throw and can't squeeze it. He's been reading Zach throws all camp. Got a pick 6 back in OTAs. He's dropped 2 so far in camp, and he's not happy about it. Zach shows off the arm talent on a boot. against his body, flips his hip, and just flips the thing to the sideline to Nick Westbrook. We'll do this, eh? Holy, here we go. Here we go. Flips the thing up the sideline to Nick Westbrook Ikaine for a gain of about 20 yards, beating the converging safety. Ewers' good rip from the far hash to the Armstrong for about 12, really stepped into it and drove it in there. I love hearing the continue good stuff about Quinn Ewers, man. I love hearing how good this kid's doing. I love hearing this, man. I mean, the kid is absolutely, you know, I don't know what to say, man. I love how this guy's stepping up, right? So maybe he'll be throwing some throws to Nick Westbrook Akine, huh? Anyways, next play. Here is Ewers. He's hot with a rusher in his face, tries to drop the arm angle, and has Eskridge over the middle, but the throw is high. Miami D is creating some runs down the middle through some creative design this period. Jordan Colbert picks off Ewers on a tip pass. We got that highlight for you. That was on target. I did not see the number on the wide receiver. He hit him in the hands, too. Tua's got Tanner Connor all alone for a walk-in touchdown on a little play-action boot. Got that highlight. Jordan Brooks is playing off his DTs so well all camp. He flies off in a stack-up from Benito Jones and tags off Achane at the line of scrimmage. He's playing every day with speed. We saw click in around midseason last year. Fun rep all around. Austin Jackson has a win on Phillips and pass pro, but the coverage is good, so he keeps fighting and spins back inside to angle on Tua. Phillips probably gets a sack, but Tua spins out and fires to the pylon on the move against his body with a corner all over Waddle, but the ball is perfect, caught, much to the delight of McDaniel. Matthew Dickerson, immediate dispatch for a would-be sack for Zach Wilson, but Wilson continues to play and throws a short ball to Jalen Wright off the body, impressive catch, and rolls behind in a convoy. Theo Weiss has back-to-back touchdowns, one on coverage bust and one with a little nice inside stem on Jack Jones. Ewers ripped the latter throw, also threw the first one. Love it. Ewers makes it 3 straight on the last play. A 3rd and goal with no time left. This time he goes to another UDFA rookie, Andrew Armstrong. Good throw, on time, on target. I'm telling you, guys. Quinn Ewers is making plays, baby. Quinn, I cannot wait to get down there and really put my eyes on it for myself. Quinn Ewers is out here making plays, people. I mean, consistently. I mean, we're hearing Zach Wilson make a nice throw in here and there. But again, I've talked about to my Patrons and channel members how I've heard he's a little erratic. And, you know, with Travis highlighted earlier about a throw that was right there and he missed the throw. Right? So, you know, it is what it is at this point. I'm not expecting, you know, big stuff from him. I'm just not. You know, Zach Wilson, it's just, you know, Malik Washington wide open. And that's a guy. Malik's going to be a guy playing with the ones. What I love hearing, though, is Grayson Murphy, people. Let's go, Grayson Murphy. Grayson Murphy making some noise today. Got a tackle for a loss. Got a sack. Just getting that pressure. Getting that instant penetration. Grayson Murphy, he's made more noise dating back to OTAs through mandatory minicamp to now than a guy like Mo Kamara, than a guy like Quentin Bell. Grayson Murphy, they might got something here. And we talked about that when they signed him as a UDFA. I mean, #1 pressure rate in that draft class, and we got him as a UDFA. This guy we might got something here. You know, he's showing ability to, hopefully, when the pads come on, he continue to show the ability to set the edge. If he can do that and continue to show the penetration, holy jeez, we might got something. And let me tell you this, okay? I had in my last update, I've heard the running backs love running behind Jonas Savaianaya. When I hear Patrick Paul and Jonas Savaianaya collapsing that backside so Wright can hit that hole and really burst to that second level, and then you hear Patrick Paul just waving and come on. I love hearing that. I love hearing that they're opening the gap, they're opening the lane, Wright's finding it, and he's making the defense pay. I want to see this continue when the pads come on. because that left side might be the dominant. That might be the strength, and the right side might be a little bit of that finesse with James Daniels and Austin Jackson screens and on the outside. I love what we're hearing, though. Just power to that left side, man. Just power, baby. Power through. All right, let's keep it going. And here's what the Miami Herald had for today. It's just the Dolphins' luck. They've sustained a slew of injuries at a position that was most compromised entering training camp. 4 cornerbacks were sidelined Monday. Storm Duck, Kader, Kohou, B.J. Adams, Artie Burns. That meant more opportunities for Ethan Bonner and Isaiah Johnson at outside corner. Johnson in particular had a good day. And Mike Hilton, one of the league's better slot corners in recent years, stepped right into Kohou's nickel role after agreeing to terms with the Dolphins on Saturday. The other new veteran, Jack Jones, got work in 11-11 drills and had coverage on at least one play that was stout. This was Jones' second practice after signing Saturday. Besides the corners, 4 other players were not spotted. Jalen Connors, Baron Matos, Aaron Brewer, and Dante Schrader. Tempers flared, and we got the highlight of that. Tempers flared late in practice with center Andrew Meyer and defensive lineman Kenneth Grant exchanging pushes and shoves before being separated. Tagovailoa was wearing the orange jersey bestowed on the standout in the previous day's practice. He followed that up with his 5th consecutive practice without an interception, a day that included multiple completions to Tyreek Hill, multiple throws to Jalen Waddle, and a 10-yard touchdown pass to Tanner Connor in red zone drills. Tagovailoa completed a long touchdown pass to Hill, beating Jason Marshall Jr., but the play was negated because Chop Robinson was credited with a sack. Here's how the first 11-11 drills unfolded. Austin Jackson committed a false start, and Devin Achane was limited to 2 yards on a run. But Achane then broke off an 8-yard run. Willie Gay seemed to be credited with a sack, nullifying a Tagovailoa sideline throw to Hill. Mo Kamara had a run stop. Zach Wilson failed to connect with Malik Washington on a pass over the middle. Grayson Murphy had an excellent stop in the backfield on a run by Ollie Gordon, but Gordon showed shiftiness on a 4-yard run. Alexander Madison had a nice run for about 6. Ben Stilley applied pressure on Quinn Ewers. It could easily have been ruled a sack. Jalen Wright followed that with a short gain. Tagovailoa then hit Hill, who beat Isaiah Johnson on the slant for about 20 yards. Gay had great coverage on Madison in the corner of the end zone, forcing an incomplete pass from Tua in red zone drills. Gordon then had 2 short runs inside the 5. Neither crossed the goal line. Matt Dickerson and Channing Tindall had a sack on Zach Wilson on the next goal line play. Jordan Brooks then blew up a running play, stopping right at the line of scrimmage. Tagovailoa then hit right for a short gain. Jalen Waddle gained about 8 yards on an end around, but Zach Sieler stopped him short of the goal line. Isaiah Johnson had a good coverage on an incomplete goal line throw from Tagovailoa to Malik Washington. Tagovailoa then hit Hill for a 3-yard touchdown, beating Kendall Sheffield. Red zone drills continued with Quinn Ewers hitting Connor for a 10-yard gain and then hitting rookie A.J. Henning for a short touchdown. In between, 2 plays were foiled by bad snaps. They had Addison West, the guard. They had him, the UDFA guard we added, they had him taking center snaps. With Greg Ackerman replacing Danny Crossman as special teams coach, Hill has been returning more punts in practice. That might be a coincidence. Regardless, it would be surprising if Hill gets much work as a returner. Jason Sanders hit all 6 of his field goal attempts, along with a long 45-yarder. During the second set of 11-11 plays, rookie Jason Marshall Jr. was beaten on a 17-yard catch by Waddle. Connor caught a short pass from Tagovailoa, and Jalen Phillips stopped Achane for no gain on a running play. Robinson's sack nullified the 60-yard touchdown to play by Tua to Hill. Wilson nearly threw an interception to Gay, who dropped it. Gay's everywhere all at once. Wilson then had 2 completions for decent gains, including one to Tyreek Black and the other one to Nick Westbrook Akine. I got it, Akine, baby. Let's go. And for a 40-yard catch and run touchdown by Nick Westbrook Akine. Ewers, who had been very solid all camp, then hit Andrew Armstrong on a 15-yard comeback. D. Eskridge dropped a Ewers pass, perhaps sensing Cam Smith's presence nearby. Jordan Colbert then intercepted a Ewers pass that was deflected by Armstrong. Zeke Biggers and Daquan Jackson then stood up Gordon for no gain. In the second set of red zone drills, Tagovailoa threw a touchdown to Connor. Benito Jones limited Gordon to a short gain, and Phillips had a coverage sack of Tagovailoa. Matt Dickerson had a sack, negating a Wilson touchdown pass. Black showed nice hands on an 8-yard touchdown pass from Wilson. Ewers hit a wide-open Theo Weiss for an 8-yard touchdown. There was clearly a busted coverage on the play. Ewers then hit Weiss again in the back of the end zone for another red zone touchdown. And Ewers then hit Armstrong for a 4-yard touchdown to end red zone drills. Guard center Liam Eichenberg, who's on the physically unable to perform list for an undisclosed injury, was spotted on the stationary bicycle. So listen, Tua Tagovailoa, like, knock on wood, Tua hasn't thrown a pick all camp and continues to look absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's making plays. One thing he's doing that he hasn't done in recent years is he's playing through even the would-be sacks, right? Tempers flaring at practice. I mean, hey, these are big-bodied men trying to earn a living in this violent of a sport. I expect it, right? I expect it. And back to Tua wearing that orange jersey today. Gotta love it. And Willie Gay Jr., man. You know, when I did my top 5, breakout players, it was, for me, it was Willie Gay, man, was up there. We've had a couple guys who, I also had Grayson Murphy on that list. I had Grayson Murphy, Isaiah Johnson, Dante Trader, and I had my honorable mentions for Jalen Waddle and Willie Gay Jr. And the only reason why they were honorable mentions was because Jalen Waddle and Willie Gay have already played serious big-time reps. If Willie Gay was a young guy, I would have not had him. I would have had him probably in my top 5, but I had Dante Trader, Isaiah Johnson, Grayson Murphy, Jonas Savaianaya, Jalen Wright. You know what I mean? Like guys who at most are in their second training camp, right? So, listen, I think Willie Gay, I've said this, he's going to push Tyrell Dotson, man. He's going to get in that rotation. There ain't no doubt about it. So, let's get into what the Sun Sentinel saw. They said Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill had a connection in practice that had them looking like they're ready to bring back production levels of 2022 and 2023. Tua started early by throwing to Hill on an outbreaking route to the sideline and about 20 yards downfield. It was an impressive throw into a window. Willie Gay Jr. brought the pressure into his face and maybe would have hit him on a throw if tackling live. Another great connection from Tua to Tyreek followed shortly after, with Hill crossing over the middle downfield, and they hooked up for a touchdown in the red zone. Hill wasn't immediately seen at practice, but joined the team for period 2. He would usually come out after the team stretch last season, but through the start of camp, he was out there for the opening period. Hill posted on X a teaser video of a YouTube video of his minutes before the rest of the team ran out for practice. The first quick scuffle between Dolphins players occurred toward the end of Monday's session. Andrew Meyer and Kenneth Grant got tangled up in the trenches after a play. Nothing too serious transpired as players broke them up quickly, but a lot of bodies rushed to get between them. In later 11-11 period, Tua made another pair of nice throws, once to Hill and another to Jalen Waddle, but on each, a pass rusher looked to get him off the edge for a would-be sack. Jalen Phillips and then Chop Robinson. Hill's catch was deep on a fly route down the sideline. Waddle's pass was outbreaking of intermediate distance, similar to the first Tua and Tyreek connection of the day. Phillips had another practice sack in a late red zone session, a coverage sack. On the first play of team drills, Austin Jackson committed a false start. By the second snap, Devon Achane had a huge hole to run through up the middle. A strong cutback was shown from Alexander Madison, shifting left, seeing the hole was plugged and maneuvering to daylight on the right. The Dolphins did a red zone period for the first time this camp on Monday. Tua finished it off with a 3-yard touchdown to Hill on third down. The preceding play, he threw wide of wide receiver Malik Washington on a deep corner with Isaiah Johnson blanketing him in coverage. Jordan Brooks had a tackle for a loss earlier. On a 3rd and goal from the 4, Zach Wilson was surely sacked as a combination of Grayson Murphy and Matt Dickerson got home against him. With the play allowed to continue, he threw incomplete into the end zone. In later red zone work, Tagovailoa found Tanner Conner for a touchdown. Wilson threw touchdowns to Jalen Wright and Tyreek Black. Quinn Ewers found undrafted rookie Theo Weiss twice for touchdowns in red zone work as well. Addison West, the undrafted rookie, and Ewers had back-to-back mishandled snaps between them in the red zone session. The following snap in the shotgun was high to Ewers, but he caught it. Looked downfield and found A.J. Henning for a touchdown in the back of the end zone. Willie Gay had a dropped interception on a throw Wilson sent right to him over the middle, never seeing him in coverage. Wilson recovered later by rolling left and finding Nick Westbrook Akine wide open down the sideline with room to run, possibly enough to score or at least come close to the goal line. Ewers, he's hitting it. Ewers hit Andrew Armstrong for a sizable gain down the left sideline. Eskridge had a Ewers pass go right through his hands. The throw may have been slightly behind him. Ewers then had a ricochet off the hands of Armstrong, end up in Jordan Colbert's hands for an interception. After new cornerback Jack Jones had his first practice with the Dolphins on Saturday, Mike Hilton, he had his first practice today. He was wearing number 38. Aaron Brewer still wasn't dressed on Monday's practice. He was never placed on PUP and could continue to snap with quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Mike McDaniel said before the day's drills that Brewer could return to walkthrough setting with his lower body soft tissue injury sometime this week. Stock up it was Tua and Tyreek Hill. This comes after Tua let it be known early in camp Hill had to rebuild his relationship with the team after last season's locker room blow-up to finish the season. The connection was there at Monday's practice. Stock down, Addison West. So, I mean, clearly you can tell Ewers getting a lot of work with the threes if they're practicing Addison West with them. I mean, let Ewers do his thing. I mean, this guy's mishandling snaps. Forced to mishandle bad snaps from Addison West, who's learning the trade, but he's still recovering it and making touchdown throws to A.J. Henning in the back of the end zone. I love it. I love it, man. Nothing's phasing this kid right now, it seems. I absolutely love what we're hearing from Quinn Ewers in these first couple of days. Kid's doing his thing, man. Kid's really doing his thing. So I like hearing that a lot. Jalen Waddle, he's continuing to make his plays, but Tyreek Hill, listen, go do your thing, man. I mean, I think he's going to have a bounce back year. I've said this. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. It looks like we're on that way. Isaiah Johnson making plays with tight coverage. We need corners to step up. We need young corners to step up. And Isaiah Johnson was also on my list of guys who I thought could have breakout camps. So I'd like to hear that he is growing a little bit. And you know what? Again, Nick Westbrook, Akine making plays, big plays. Love hearing that. And you know what? Who we started to hear a lot more recently? Started to hear a lot more about Andrew Armstrong. So that's good too. That is real good. So Andrew Armstrong making plays. I love it. AJ Henning making plays too. Like, let's go. We got an interesting little young receiver core. So I got about 3 minutes of highlights from camp today. All right. So let's get into these highlights from camp today.
Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Everybody, Miami Dolphins.
There's Tua in the orange jersey. Running out. Shout out to Travis with a clip. Here he is throwing that orange jersey, doing his thing. Let's go. There you see 38 and 23. That would be Jack Jones is 23. 38 is Mike Hill. So there you go. The new additions. Good stuff. The pads come on tomorrow for those wondering. All right. So here we go. You know it's a Tua day when the playlist is this, eh? Tua. There you go. Boom. Finding Tyreek on that slant. Love it. Love it. Perfect throw. Little end zone view action for you guys here with Tua. I can't wait to get down there in a few days. Another Tua to Tyreek. Achane finding that hole at the middle. Check this one out for you. Tua to Tyreek. Here's that long bomb, baby. Right on the money up the sideline. Let's go. Ewers over the middle. And look at, he hit him right in the hands. That is not on Ewers, that interception. I love the 80s, Tua. Tua, back. There's his little flip to Tanner Connor. Love it. And here's your little scrap on that play. Little scuffle. Pour some sugar on me. Playing in the background. Gotta love it. All right, here's Ewers. I'm telling you, I love what I'm seeing from this kid. All right, Ewers takes a snap. Boom. Right over that middle. Let's go. Perfect throw. Him and Tua do a little bump. Love it. What a throw by Ewers. He's making some good throws. I screwed up on the last one. That was the one that I assumed was an overthrow by him and a pick, was actually the one where he beat Jason Marshall, who mistimed his jump, which was a beautiful throw. Here you go, working some pads. Love it. Love it. So there are some highlights from today's training camp session. About 500 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Let's get into what Minkah said today here. I got a few things I want to talk about from Minkah. All right, so here's Minkah.
Before we start asking questions, I want to make a statement real quick. I know I haven't addressed the media or posted on social media. One, I'm not a big social media guy. You ain't gonna see me on there. Period. Point blank. Two, in no way, shape, or form was that an expression of frustration about coming back to Miami. Three, I want to thank the city of Pittsburgh, the fans of Pittsburgh. You guys treated me very well. I enjoyed my time there.
It's a leader, man.
Played with some great teammates. I was very unfortunate the way things ended, but it's a part of the business. And I'm extremely excited to be a Miami Dolphin. Again, my silence was not a reflection of how I felt about this team or this organization. I've been here in the building for about a week now, and I'm extremely excited about this season. I think we have a very, very high ceiling. We have a lot of young, hungry, passionate guys.
Let's go.
Combined with a lot of guys who played a lot of game and have a lot of accolades. So this is an organization that I'm extremely proud to be a part of. And again, my silence was nothing to do with my feelings towards the Dolphins organization. With that being said, I'm not going to take any questions about how the transaction went down. I'm not going to take any questions about Pittsburgh or previous coaches or anything like that. I would like to respectfully talk about this current situation, this team, my players, my coaches, and I would appreciate if you would all respect those wishes.
Minkah, you already touched on how happy you are to be part of the organization, but how happy you are to be back in South Florida? And
How happy are you to be back in South
Yeah,
Florida?
I'm very excited. It's very nostalgic. We played here 2 seasons ago, and I remember like pulling up to the stadium and walking on the field, and I felt like I was like back in time. You know what I'm saying? And now it's a same feeling. Just being back down here. Obviously, it's a different facility. It's a beautiful facility. But like I said,
Attaboy, Wayne,
it's very
get those
nostalgic.
autos.
A lot of the staff and trainers and stuff like that is the same. So it was almost like I just went back in time. You know what I'm saying? So it's been fun, and my family's down here, so it's good to be back close to them.
How is the Minkah Fitzpatrick of 2025 different than the?
I had to play
as a rookie?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You're welcome, Minkah.
I would say I'm definitely a lot more emotionally mature. I think I was very emotionally unintelligent back then. And like I just said, I learned from my mistakes, you know what I'm saying? And I tried to grow in that area. I tried to get to know the people around me better and learn how to communicate, learn how to not communicate, you know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that for sure.
Now that you are back here, do you want to be here long term?
Here we go.
Yeah,
Good question,
definitely. Like I said earlier, I'm really liking the energy and the direction that this is going. I think the culture of this locker room is one that wants to win and win now. But it's also something that I want to earn. I know that it was reported that I wanted a new contract, but I just wanted to know that I was going to be here for more than a season. You know what I'm saying? And I got that. And now I'm gonna go out there, play all Pro Bowl level.
Let's go.
Hopefully earn
Let's
the
go.
respect of my teammates and the organization to have that long-term contract.
So there you go. Minkah just said he's open to a long-term contract. Right there. He just told you. He is open to a long-term contract. And he wants to earn it with his play this year. So all these people are like, oh, he's quiet because he doesn't want to be in Miami. No, it's because he was handling the business about getting that guaranteed money taken care of. That's what it was all about for this year. Minkah now has just flipped all the people that were saying that Your narrative has now been flipped on his head because now he's talking about how he wants to be here long term. So, I mean, you tell me. Minkah has now flipped that narrative on its head. Minkah wants to be here long term. And look at what he said in the opening. That is a leader, man. That is a leader and a half. Bust out your Minkah Fitzpatrick jerseys if you got them and wear them with pride. All right? And I think he's going to return to that all-pro form, so I'm not even worried. But, man, what a tough day for all those negative Nancys that were trying to spin that on Minkah, huh? All of you people who are just contrarians and negative just for the sake of being that way, you got egg on your face today, don't you? Just saying. All you people that spent time even talking about it when it was clearly a guaranteed money thing. Give me a break. Learn the business. Learn the game. I want to get into what Pete Prisco said here. And on CBS, we'll play this right here. So this is what Pete Prisco said on CBS. He said a couple things regarding the Miami Dolphins. And this is from when he was at camp a couple days ago. So I want to play a few portions of this.
And Pete, we talk a lot about the culture here in Miami and controlling what you can control. That is a big storyline. That's what we keep hearing around camp as well. And so I asked Tua, what can the fans look forward to? And he said it's just a feeling in the locker room, right? He said, I know the fans are tired of hearing it and tired of being disappointed and tired of us missing the playoffs. It's been since 2000 that they've actually won a playoff game. So when I asked him about that drought, he said, just trust us. It's a feeling in the locker room here, and it is so different.
Well, it has to be different because it's not working. And Mike McDaniel, the head coach, knows that. So he's got to change. And I think he's trying to change the culture. And I think he's learning what his players can do, the veteran players, and leaning on them to help change the culture. I mean, they're going to go spend 10 days up in Chicago and Detroit in the preseason. That's a culture building time for them. They have to change the way they do things. It's been too soft here. Look, the coach was too nice, and that's the reality of it. And he knows his job is on the line. And so when it's not working, you have to change it. And I think that's the most important thing for them is to change the feeling. And Tyreek Hill talked about that, and you mentioned Tua talked about it. But it's on those guys to do it and make it happen.
Before we let you go, real quick, Pete Prisco, is this a playoff team in 2025? And Jacqueline, what do you think? Is this team going to the postseason?
They're not making the playoffs. This is the worst team in the division. And that's it.
I don't know about that.
They're the worst team in the division. You look at it on paper, and everybody say, well, what about New England? Well, New England has Drake May, who's going to be better in the second year. They've added a lot of guys in free agency. They had a good draft. They're going to battle New England for the cellar. I think the Jets will be the second team, and I think Buffalo runs away with the division, clearly the class of the division.
I agree with that. Obviously, I think Josh Allen and the Bills are going to run away with the division. What they do in the postseason, that's a whole other story, whether they can get past Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City.
The Jets.
I think we talked about it. The floor, the ceiling. The floor is maybe, 7 games, the ceiling with 10. I think maybe they could squeeze in. I agree with you. I think they're going to be right at it with the Patriots. I think they're going to be better than the Jets. I really do.
I don't.
You don't?
I think the Jets roster's better. I think their culture's better with the new coach. I don't think they'll be better than the Jets.
Okay.
They're going to battle New England for the cellar in the division. I know Miami doesn't want to hear that, but that's what they are.
And the schedule is tough, right? You have within the first 4 games of the season, you have, 3 divisional opponents, 2 of those in prime time. So Haley will certainly figure out pretty quickly what this team is made of when we look at the first 4 games of the schedule.
But they do give an orange jersey to the guy who practices hard so he can play his music every day in practice. They do have that going for him.
That's Pete's favorite part of training camp.
I mean, what a DICK parting shot. The Jets, bro, you're putting your faith in Justin Fields. Tua has top 5 winning percentage of all active quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He's led the league in passing yards. He's led the league in completion percentage. He's led the league in passer rating. But you think Justin Fields and you think Drake May are going to pass him this year? New England ain't ready, bud. I hate to be the one to tell you this. But what have I said? New England's more ready than the Jets. I think the Jets are going to be the seller team. New culture with Aaron Glenn. You haven't even seen the culture in action yet, bro. They've been at training camp for 2 weeks. You want to sit here and talk about their culture? Give me a break. What has Justin Fields done in the NFL? You want to sit here and say, what has Tua done? What has Justin Fields and Drake May done? Because they pale in comparison to what Tua's done. Last I checked, Tua's never lost to the Patriots. Isn't that correct? What's his record against the Jets when he's healthy? Give me a break. What are we talking about here? It took Aaron Rodgers to have a rebirth type of game last year for them to even beat us. And Tua wasn't healthy. So, yeah, I don't know what Pete Prisco's smoking down in South Florida, but brother, you got to lay off of it because it's warping your brain, sir. So, absolutely, I had to play that because that was just so ridiculous. I can't even believe that. The Jets. Give me a break. Anyways, guys, smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. I'm going to be back tomorrow. We're going to be recapping again. They're back. Tuesday, the Pads come on. Wednesday, they're there. Thursday, they're off. And Friday, they're back, which is my 10-year anniversary. So I'll be live for all of those days. And then next Monday, I got one of the biggest interviews in this channel's history dropping. So got a lot of content coming your way. Smash that like button. Over 500 of you in the room. Fins up all day, every day. And we'll see y'all in the next one.